No, please.
Then I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides, and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven, or on earth, or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll and look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals."
Okay, who's sitting on the throne?
Jesus. Jesus.
No.
Moses. I'm going to get it right.
Jesus is the one in chapter 5 who's going to be able to open it. That's Jesus. So who's sitting on the
Who's
throne?
reading?
The Father.
Who's
God the
saying all
Father.
this stuff?
So God the Father sitting on his throne and he's got this scroll. Now if you go back in Revelation chapters 24, 25, it talks about the prelude to the tribulations in Revelation.
Okay.
And the disciples said, when will this be? And what did Jesus say? Somebody
He
remember?
said, "Only the Father
Jesus
knows that."
said, nobody knows when this will be. I don't even know. Only the Father knows. And he will pick the time and he will tell me to go. Okay? This is that event that Jesus prophesied. Jesus said, the Father will pick the time, and the Father has the scroll, and he's held it for the 2,000 years of church history, and now he's going to take that scroll and he's going to hand it to Jesus, and it's all going to get started. Okay? Now, what's significant about the scroll? Scrolls were the books of today. Okay, they didn't have binderies and they didn't have printing presses. They wrote things down on thick paper or on lambskins, thin lambskins. And after they wrote them down and the ink dried, they rolled them up and they stored them on shelves, and they were called scrolls. What do you think the 7 seals signify? What is the purpose of the seals?
Keep
They're
things
like
at
liquid,
bay.
huh?
To keep things at bay, to not let anything out, to seal it till it's ready to be
Yeah.
opened.
They were to seal what was inside the document and keep it safe until the time of the opening, like a will. What would happen was I would write down my will, and I might write down 5 different pages for my 5 different kids. And I would roll the first one up, and I would drop some wax on it, and then I would take my signet ring, which they wore on their middle finger back then, and I would push down into the wax, and that was my seal that I had sealed it. And then I would write the name of the person who was allowed to open that part of the scroll. I would write his name beside the seal, and only he could open it. Then I would write out the next part of my will for my second child, and I would roll that up over top of the first one. And I would put wax on the edge where the roll ended, and then I would put my ring in that wax so they would know that I sealed it, and then I'd write the name of the second person. And I would do that all the way through to whatever I was doing, whatever document I was working with. And on the outside one, that would be the first person who'd be able to open the scroll. And it might be a priest or it might be a lawyer, because in Indiana you have to hire a lawyer to read the will and give it to the people who, that was brought about by lawyers. You know, you got to pay the guy to open up the will and to hand out and to read the pieces of the will and hand them to the people who inherit it. So, there's only one person who is allowed to open that scroll, and that would be the person whose name was written beside the seal. Okay, any questions on that? So it was for sealing and for protecting the contents of the document, so that I couldn't get in there and change the will in my favor. And if that seal was broken, then the document was not valid. Okay. So there's only one person who can open this seal. Why 7 seals, do you think? What's it saying to us when it says there's 7 seals?
Oh, that's God's number.
Yes, this is God's action. God's in total control of this thing. God the Father's holding it on the throne, and he's been holding it on the throne for 2,000 years. Okay? And it is not going to start, and God says it's time for it to start, and nothing's going to happen during the course of it that God hasn't written down and has total and complete control of. So, does that make it scary for me?
No, but you're on the right side.
No, my general's in charge of all the armies, of Satan's armies, of the angel armies. My God's in charge of this whole thing. Nothing is going to happen in this whole progression of things that my God has not already foreseen, provided for, and is in total and complete charge of. Nothing. Do you remember do you remember Jesus cast some demons out of a kid, and they looked at him and they said, "Have you come to torment us before our time?" Remember that passage of scripture?
Yes.
What were they saying right there when they said, "Have you come to torment us before our time?"
They knew. They knew their time was up. They knew it was going to be coming.
They completely and totally knew, and they were resigned to it. They know it's going to happen. They have no doubts they've lost and are going to lose. They are just here because they're allowed to be here, and at some point they're going to be gone. And there's not a chance in the world that the Battle of Armageddon can go any other way than the way it's written. Not a chance. It's going to happen exactly the way the Bible says it's going to happen. No questions asked. God is in total and complete charge. So 7 indicates to us that this is an action of God, controlled by God, and empowered by God, and under God's authority. Nobody in this whole story from here on can do anything that God doesn't allow them to do. That should take the scary right out of it, if you're a child of God.
Do you
If
think
you're not, it's going to be scary.
Do you think that 7 seals, since that's the breaking of those is gonna kind of set in motion basically what's gonna be the end of the world, do you think that has anything to do with God taking 7 days to create the world? Do you think that's related at all?
Yeah, they both indicate God, an action of God. But does 7 days have anything to do with 7 seals? No more than the fact that it's God's action. God created the 7 the world, the universe in 7 days for our benefit. I guess we're going to go through this for our benefit too, because the world's going to be end up cleansed. But the bottom line is, it just basically says God's involved in this. I wouldn't know how to relate it any other way. I've never read anything. All right. What are the 2 names of Jesus? Verse 5.
Lion of the tribe of Judah and Root of David.
Okay. Lion of the tribe of Judah and Root of David. What do those things tell you about Jesus?
Anyone?
He's the king. Lion.
He's the king.
He's the king, and
It's referring to him as king, in full authority, and in full charge. Okay, so he's our king. What's that make you?
princesses and princes.
You're a princess, you're a prince. You're a princess, a prince. And what does that say about your future? What? I heard you.
Funny how that works.
Oh, man, they're in there.
She mumbled it. Okay.
We're in line for the throne.
Hmm?
We're in line for the heavenly throne.
We're in line for the throne. We're going to be rulers in. You said a little while ago that the end of the earth. Okay. I think you're going to be surprised when we get to the end of this book.
Well, I mean, you know, the way we know it now. So,
Yeah, the end of human history.
Right,
It's the end
right.
of human history. You know, where do you think you're going to spend eternity? What's the pat answer? Huh?
Heaven.
Heaven. And
New Earth.
New Earth.
I think you'll be able to go and come back, but there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. The whole universe is turned over to the victor of Armageddon, and he rules the universe, and we are going to be right here on this earth, ruling with Jesus forever. Now, I think we'll be able to visit heaven if we want to. I think we'll be able to step through that spiritual door and be on the streets of heaven if we want to. Why have the New Jerusalem come down and take its place and on Mount Sinai if it's just going to disappear when all this is over? We're going to go right back to the Garden of Eden, and we're going to live in it like we were supposed to in the beginning. And you'll see that at the end. You know, people say, we're going to heaven, we're going to spend eternity in heaven. Those mansions that are being made in heaven for us now come down with the New Jerusalem. You know how big it is? I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but a lot of people aren't here, and I'm going to have to recap all this next week, so I don't want to get too far into it. But you know how big the New Jerusalem is? 15 stadia wide, 15 stadia long, and 15 stadia high. It would be like a cylindrical staircase. There will be houses on top of houses. It's going to be a spiritual world. It's not going to be a world like we know it. What's a stadia? 15 stadia goes from not the farthest point on the East Coast. 15 stadia would go from like Baltimore to the Mississippi River. And it would go like the southern end of Maine to the top of Florida. This little bit in Florida. And that high. That's a huge city. And that's what's going to come down, and that's where Jesus' throne is going to be. That's going to be the capital city of the world. Okay? Now, how many people do you think could fit in that?
Oh, gosh. A lot.
A lot. Do you think all 7 billion of the people who live on the earth today could fit in that?
No,
No? Okay.
we're not all going.
And how about all the billions of people who have lived and died since human history began? Do you think they could fit in that? If you took all 7 billion people who live on the earth today and you gave them 3 square foot to stand in, that would be 3 square feet, and that would be enough to where I wouldn't have to touch any other person. I could have my own space. And you gave every pregnant woman an extra 3 square feet for their child. And there's 7 billion, and maybe 900 million of them are pregnant. Okay? How much space would we need to take all those people and put them in 3 square feet and put them in lines and line them up?
Texas.
Texas?
Never figured it out
Texas?
before.
Somebody else want to? Texas? I'll go and take a shot.
Come on, Zach. Say something.
Oklahoma.
It would not quite fill up Indianapolis. All this stuff about the world is overpopulated and we gotta start aborting babies and we gotta start, that's a bunch of bull. It wouldn't quite fill up Indianapolis.
Jordan needs 9 feet. Requires 9 feet.
And it's true, because I thought that's a crock. There's no way that's true. So I got on the, Indianapolis is Marion County. They extended their borders all the way around to Marion County. So Indianapolis, Marion County. You can get on the internet, you can find out what the square footage is in Marion County, what the square miles are, and then you can find out how many square feet are in a square mile and multiply that times the square miles. And then you can divide 7 billion people into it. 8 if you count the pregnant women. Divide 8 million people in it, and it just fills up Indianapolis by 2/3. You got room to grow. So all this stuff about the world's being overpopulated and we got to do something, and man, there's a lot of space out there. And what if all those deserts became lush rainforests? And what if the entire earth bloomed again? And what if the mountains, we're going to find out here later on that the mountains are going to be no more, because they were created during the flood, when the continents were pushed apart and crammed together and the mountains were pushed up. Well, God's going to put that all back together the way it was. There's going to be a huge earthquake, and there will be no more mountains, because it's going to push all that down and spread it out again. Do you know that if you spread out all the mountains, if you take the mountains and you spread them out, it'll just close up the Atlantic Ocean?
But I like mountains.
I do too. But if you take all that and flatten it out, and all the deserts bloom again, and every tree bears fruit again, how many people could this world sustain? Trillions upon trillions, and it wouldn't be crowded. Amen? Okay, well, that wasn't the way this morning was supposed to go, but it was fun.